Are you tired of selling your cards on eBay, creating the listing, taking the pictures, front, back, shipping, non-paying bidders? Let the pros at Fanatics Marketplace do all of the work for you. I do. That's why I use Fanatics for my vaulting and for my selling. If you've got a bunch of unwanted inventory that you've been sitting on for days, weeks, months, years, ship it to Fanatics Marketplace and let them do all the work. Just make sure when you ship it, you use the promotional code Cajun, all capital letters, C-A-J-U-N, and tell them that Cajun Cardboard sent you, and let the pros do the rest at Fanatics Marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I had a phenomenal week in Cleveland at the National. It was very fun. There were some pros, there were some cons, and I couldn't think of a great way. I don't have a team of videographers. I brought my son with me and he tried to help a little bit, but you guys know me. I'm low budget, po folk. You know, I'm getting by on the content, not on the audio and visual. So I didn't know any better way to sort of share my national experience with you guys other than with just a bunch of photos, and I'll narrate through them. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I might have to cut it into 2 videos. Hell, all I know is I just kind of uploaded all my photos over here to my YouTube desktop, and I am about to just kind of talk you through my experience. I left on Monday. I was gonna fly up there. I had flights booked, and then my son ended up saying, "You know what? I'll come. I'll be your guy. I'll tag along. I'll be your sidekick." And when Cajun Jr. told me that, he's 23 years old. When he told me that, I was like, I'm in. So this is the same Cajun Jr. that flew to Connecticut with me and drove back that massive collection acquisition that we did about 9 months ago. So we knew we could drive across country, so we decided, you know what, we're just going to get in the car and we're going to drive to Cleveland and drive back. And so that's exactly what we did. We left Monday after work and then drove halfway to Cleveland. We have some stops on the way that I'm about to show you pictures of. Went to the National, and then we drove back in one day, Saturday morning, and arrived Saturday night. So here we go. I'm just going to start sharing pictures and sort of talk through what exactly it is you're seeing. This first picture is going to probably baffle you, like, why the hell is there a picture of this little house? Well, this was my childhood home. I know you guys know me as Cajun Cardboard from the great state of Louisiana, and I am from the great state of Louisiana, but I was actually born in a basketball hotbed of Louisville, Kentucky, and this was the home that I grew up in as a kid. And our route, as fate would have it, took us right through Louisville. I have not been back to Louisville in 30 years. And I did not want to pass up the opportunity to go pass through my old neighborhood, look at my house, look at where my friends' houses were. I moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 1983. And so I will say this, I'll just be quite blunt with you. As I drove into the neighborhood, I literally began crying tears. I'm a 50-year-old man, and I'm about to get emotional right now. I'm dead serious. Like, I literally, my son, I said, Cam, you need to be prepared. This could get ugly. And so I literally cried for probably 30 minutes. It was, nostalgia, right? We're in the sports card hobby. And this is going to sound chintzy. We're in the sports card hobby, and we collect cards. A lot of it is nostalgia driven. And when I drove through my old neighborhood and I saw my house, my old street, where I learned to ride a bike, where I used to get on a sled and snow sled, where my dad walked me around the neighborhood, the backyard where I learned how to play football, the driveway at this house where my dad taught me how to shoot a basketball, mechanically perfect, of course, like Rex Chapman or Kyle Macy or any of the other great University of Kentucky basketball players over the years. This is my house, and this is where I grew up. So now you know, right? And so let's keep rolling. Here's a screenshot I took. We were in Cincinnati. I was like almost to Cleveland. I mean, we were, what is Cincinnati, like 4 hours away? I don't even remember. It's all a blur to me. I posted this on Instagram, and some people were like, man, you're an a-hole. Cleveland's not that bad. Why'd you put that face on there? Ohio's beautiful. Why don't you like Ohio? The face is not for Ohio. Ohio is absolutely gorgeous. I'm very jealous I'm very jealous of the topography of Ohio. It was mesmerizing, and of course, we don't see hills, let alone mountains, or some of the stuff that we saw on the trip up there. So that's part of the reason we enjoy driving so much. The little green face was that we had been in the freaking car forever, and we were ready to get to Cleveland, but we were only in Cincinnati. And by the way, Cincinnati looked beautiful to me, but I don't know anything about the city. I used to visit there and watch the Reds when I lived in Louisville. That's what the Exposition Center looked like. That's where the National was held. Not exactly architecturally beautiful from the outside, but it did the trick. The first thing I saw was some dude sitting out in the lobby when I got there, and he thought he had a pretty good Jordan collection. He had an okay group of cards, but he did have this card, which I had never seen, that I wanted to share with you guys. If you kind of zoom in on the card, you'll see, look where my cursor is, right here by my gross fingernails. That's a 1-of-1 Michael Jordan autograph card from 2006 Fleer Greatest Moments. And so I thought that, ironically, oddly enough, I arrived at the show and I couldn't even get in yet. And the very first person that I walked up to and started talking to, I was just like, what do you got? What are you collecting? He had a Zion case, and the guy was like, I collect Michael Jordan. I was like, what? What are the odds, right? And so he pulled this bad boy out. I was like, you know what? Never seen it. Let's share it. I had a great conversation with this gentleman here. There's going to be another video you're going to see that I'm going to post after this. It's going to take a little bit more time. Hopefully I'll get it up the next day or two. But it's just going to be a video dump. So this is my photo dump. I'm going to do a video dump where I don't even talk. It's literally just going to be video upon video upon video of all of the footage that I took up there. It's not going to be narrated. It's not going to be fancy. It's not going to be high quality. It's going to be me and Cajun Jr. taking a bunch of videos on my phone. Some of it will be talking in the videos. Some of it will be interviewing people. But I'll try to cut it up and make it nice and neat and enjoyable for you. And honest to God, it might have to be 2 or 3 videos. But it's going to be raw footage from the National. Just so you guys can see some of the stuff that we recorded while I was up there. So this is a gentleman that walked up to me. He watched the channel. He recognized me. He's like, when we started talking, and I was like, you know what? I swore that everybody that came up to me and shook hands with me, introduced themselves, and told me they watched the channel, we're gonna get as much of that on video as possible. Just so the world can see it. And I've got to believe probably somewhere between 100 and 150 people stopped me in my 3 or 4 days at the National. And so this was the first person that stopped me, and he does have a fanny pack, but we're not going to hold that against him. He also does have tourist sandals, but he was a very nice man, and so we're just going to let it go at that. I love you, my friend. Next, I went to lunch. Before we could get into the show, 2 of my friends from Louisiana, Steve Davis and Robbie Olivier, flew in on their private jet. I'm just kidding, but they did probably fly first class, knowing these guys. These are deep pockets, big-time collectors from the state of Louisiana. And I put on here that this strange man just bought 9 PSA 10 Scoring Kings from me, calculated on a napkin. And you can see right down there, follow these guys on Instagram, especially go follow Robbo's Wax. If you watch this video, please go to Instagram and follow Robbo's Wax. He's brand new. He wants to collect. He wants to be like me. I'm his hero. And he's got a little bit bigger budget than most. We'll just leave it at that. I think he ended up spending up nearly $250,000 at the show. So he came into the hobby with a bang. But if you look at that napkin, that's my friend Steve Davis pictured right there. One of my best friends here in Baton Rouge, and a great collector. And he's got a he actually completed the red set, and I've got a video with him on the channel. But he put together, he's like, sell me that PSA 10 Scoring King set. I was like, well, I'm not selling you the set because I got to keep the Jordan, because I don't really take steps backwards in the Jordan collecting world, right? All paths lead to Jordan. You've heard me say this. But he made me a very generous offer written on that napkin. He wanted to buy the other 9, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it. That's fine. So we got a deal done, and I sold him what I think is the only Scoring King set in the world, PSA 10. So I don't own the set anymore, but neither does he, because he doesn't have the Jordan. So if you've got a Jordan PSA 10 out there, there's your buyer right there, and he pays aggressively. This was the story of the first couple of days at the National. The traffic, and this is just a picture on my GPS. Like, it was bananas. My hotel was 4 miles away, and it took, my thing said 46 minutes. to go 4.1 miles. Well, you know me, I ain't sitting in traffic for 48 minutes. I talk fast, I drive fast, I don't have any patience. I probably got more than most. And so I was like, you know what, we're gonna find a way around this. So I maneuvered and worked some Cajun magic. Here's just kind of a view of the showroom floor. You know, you actually walk in over here where my cursor is, where this little finger pointing is. PSA was right to your right. Here's the corporate stuff here. Here's the corporate stuff here. The Fanatics and Topps booth was right here, so I spent a lot of time there because their carpet was delicious and absorbent, for lack of a better word, and it felt great on the knees and back after a few hours of walking on the show. The Breakers Pavilion was over here, down here, if you're into that stuff, down here towards the bottom. The layout of the IX Center, that's what they called it, was absolutely perfect. Chicago was a little janky. Chicago was a little bit confusing. A lot of other things about Chicago were far, 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 far superior to Cleveland. The one thing I'll say about Cleveland, the layout was superior. And here's a little secret that only a few people know. The bathroom situation at Cleveland was like going to freaking Woodstock, or I would imagine Woodstock would be like, except I guess everybody was kind of pissing and pooping outside on the grass there. But maybe at like a rock concert, right? Or like a massive sporting event. There was a line a couple of times for the bathroom. I saw probably upwards of 40 people, men, standing in line to go urinate. They were selling beer, by the way. Not sure those two things are correlative, but I have to guess that one led to the other. So bathrooms were a serious, serious problem. The lines to the food trucks that were, or the food vendors inside were a serious problem. But nobody knows, right over here behind the Fanatics booth, there was a secret pathway to a bathroom that nobody else knew about. And there was stalls, there were urinals, there was nobody there. And I know it sounds funny and I'm getting excited, but it was like the hidden gem. It was like Eureka, you know, I have found something at the National nobody knows about. And so it was behind a bunch of curtains. And if you walk through, you literally walk up, go to the bathroom anytime you want. And nobody really knew that. And I'm not exaggerating. It was probably 45 minutes in line to go to the bathroom. So that's the layout of the National right there. Again, it was just two big, well, it's kind of a rectangle and a square is basically what it was, but I loved the layout of the National. Here's just a bunch of old dudes looking to do dollar boxes. I swore I was going to do more of this. I did a little. I'll share with you some little teeny tiny cards that I picked up from the dollar boxes in a future video. Nothing big, maybe a couple $100 I spent, nothing big in dollar boxes. I did not end up doing what I said I was going to do, which was sit down for hours and do that, and I just didn't. I thought this was awesome. This is actually a painting, and so it's a Dunder Mifflin with Michael, Dwight, and Jim from The Office on a throwback of the 1980 top scoring leaders rookie card. I thought that was cool. I posted that on Instagram and got a lot of engagement. This is where I was telling you 4.6. Sorry, I lied. It wasn't 4.1 miles. My hotel was 4.6 miles away from the convention center. One of the closest hotels you could get, and the hotel, by the way, wasn't the greatest, but it did the trick, and I'm not really the spoiled type, and so as long as I had a bed to sleep in, it wasn't too bad. I was fine with it. And it did have free coffee in the morning, which is the only other thing I really care about. But look at that. That's my GPS on my phone. 45 minutes to go 4.6 miles. And here's the next thing. I switched that around real quick. I changed it to 22 minutes real fast with a sneaky circuitous route. You could actually sneak around the back of the convention center through a state park and get in even faster than this, and I figured that out on the next day. So this was the talk of the National from the jump, and I hate traffic. I hate traffic more than most. I'm not a complainer. I'm a relatively positive person, but it was absolutely unacceptable. And so the first thing I noticed was when I finally did get up to the ticket window to pay to park, you had to pay to park, and you couldn't buy a week pass. So they were collecting $10 from every single car you see pictured, and it took forever. And it had to have been worse than when I got there at some points during the show. And what they did on day 2, they decided not to take money. So on day 2, you did not have to pay $10 to park. I think they realized their mistake and didn't understand just how many people care about sports cards. I think they underestimated what the show was going to be like, because The venue, while the layout was great, it was inadequate from a parking perspective, from a getting in and out perspective, from a bathroom perspective, from a food vendor perspective. It's not like Chicago where you could walk out, walk a block, and go eat wherever you want. Everything I did in Chicago was on foot. Everything I did in Atlantic City, me personally, because of my hotel proximity, was on foot. Everything I did in Cleveland, you had to get in your car. So there's no going to the show, leaving, and coming back to the show the same day. At least not for me, because I ain't dealing with this crap. Although the traffic did get better from one day to the next. Like I said, maybe some other people figured out the other ways to get there. There's a picture of me and Gary Vee. Love him or hate him. I think he's a cool guy. I don't necessarily, I'm not like I'm not a V friend, right? I don't subscribe necessarily to, his channel or any of that stuff. I think the guy's interesting and I like to listen to him talk. Maybe it's because I've got a lot of energy. He's certainly got a lot of energy. He's definitely passionate about his thoughts and was a really nice guy and really gracious. My son made me take a picture because he loves Gary Vee. He loves listening to Gary Vee, and he wanted to show off to his friends. So Gary Vee asked me for a picture. He's like, Cajun Cardboard's my #1 channel. Is there any way, I could pay you to take a picture with you? I said, Gary, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me to take a picture. I'm going to take some time out of my very busy schedule and take a picture with you. And so that's us taking a picture right there at the V Friends booth, whatever that is. There is probably the biggest card at the show. This is the borderline transgender Botox lipstick Cajun Cardboard parallel that Tag did for me. Tag had a neat little promo going on where you could get your own custom card made, and so I wanted to do this and surprise Mrs. Cajun with this, and so I didn't know it was going to turn out like that with the lipstick and the Botox, but it is what it is. It's a black cracked ice. It's one of one, so it's about as big as it gets, and it's my only Tag slabbed card. So they did have it is a pretty cool promo. They just took a picture of you, made your own sports card, gave it to you in a Tag slab. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really nice little deal. Okay, so that's it for photo dump 1. Photo dump 2, my God, we're already at 16 minutes. I hope this is not miserable for you guys. This is me just giving you guys a look at the tables. Now, when you sit at these tables at the National, there was a little sign, and I took a picture of it. It says you are not allowed to trade, sell, or buy cards, or open cards, or packs, or talk about cards, or think about sports cards at these tables. You can only eat. Well, everybody was like, F you, dude. This is hilarious. These became trade tables, right, where people would sit down and get deals done and go through their stuff and open wax and etc. But this just gives you an idea of the just like right now in this picture you see open seats, but if you checked these tables anywhere from like maybe 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock, there was not one open seat. There was no open seat. You could walk around forever. You just had to watch and wait for somebody to get up and then steal a seat. This was funny. I put this on here. I knew where this was headed. Take a card, leave a card. So obviously it's a little wall, and you take whichever one you want, leave whichever one you want. And we kind of joked about it on Instagram. Like by the end of it, it would be all Darko Milicic, or by the end of it, it would be all Isaiah Thomas cards, or by the end of it, it would be all whoever the most recent failed quarterback is. I guess the dude from the Patriots. I don't know enough about football to say, but I just thought it was funny because this is only heading in one direction. So if anybody had any cards up there that were worth a damn, they would be gone. Nobody's going to leave a card worth a damn. So it was just kind of a funny little conversation piece. This is the Breakers Pavilion, and if you look, this is actually a digital wall with a separate image and Whatnot. Honestly, I thought Fanatics Live was going to come in, decimate Whatnot, and take over all of the breaking and all of that stuff because it's an all-in-one one-stop shop. Whatnot's pushing hard, man. Whatnot spent some damn money at this thing, and it was very impressive. Whatnot had they had a wrapped Whatnot Cybertruck there, if I recall, out front. This was a digital board, almost like a ticker for the wall, for Wall Street, for the New York Stock Exchange. And in each one of these panels shows you a different breaker that was breaking there. I don't mess too much with breaking. I know what it is. I don't break. I don't break, and I don't buy into breaks. But I know what it is. I know, it has a place in the hobby, and I know it, moves certain pieces in the hobby, and it's everybody's got a different perspective on it, but this was a chaotic area of the show, which I only set foot in one time, to be honest with you. And unfortunately, my friends with Card Ladder were placed damn near right near the stage for Whatnot, which was Like, I walked over and talked to Christina for a couple of hours at Card Ladder, and she had earplugs because the stage was so loud, and it was right on top of them. So my condolences to Card Ladder. They were placed right smack in the middle of the breaker section. Y'all, it was a lot of energy. I mean, you could feel the energy. It's not what I do, but, you know, I also don't buy stocks on New York Stock Exchange, but it would be cool to sit and observe, and that's what I did. I walked through it, I observed it, and kind of soaked it up. This is just kind of a general panoramic picture of just how chaotic it was. It was tough. There were times during the show on Thursday and Friday where I could not look at a table. Like, I could not. It was 1, 2, and then me, and I'm 6'4", and so I was trying to look over people's shoulders, but I couldn't get a glimpse at the cards that I wanted to see, so it was a waiting game. It was very, very crowded. I don't know what the final number is going to be on attendees, and I'm not an expert on what it was and what it was last year and then Atlantic City. But, man, it sure seemed like the National this year was well attended. And I'll also say this, and let me just take a little side here. I got the vibe that there's a better vibe in the hobby, all things considered, not just Jordan, not just 90s, not just basketball, not just sports cars. I'm talking everything about the National. It felt like there was a overwhelmingly positive kind of perception and vibe of the hobby now, more so than Chicago and more so than Atlantic City. So I feel like there's a positive momentum moving forward. Again, I am the eternal optimist, usually, right? So I'm always trying to see the good in everything, but I really do think it was very well attended from what I could tell. And let me know what you think in the comments if you got the chance to attend. Here's the only 2 big cards I bought. I bought 3 graded cards at the National. I know, sorry, normally you see these great mail days and these banger cards. Well, these are the only 2 cards I bought. They matter. They're big. They're both Legacy Collection 1996 Flair Showcase. There are not many of these floating around, and yes, I know it's a BGS 7.5 and a PSA 7, but when you're buying cards that are on tier 1 of the hierarchy, you buy what you buy, right? And this was my entire budget. And so all of the Scoring Kings cards that I sold from the napkin deal that I made with Steve Davis, all of the money went straight to these 2 cards, pretty much. I bought one more card, which I don't think I took a picture of, and I'm not sure how. I bought one more card. It was a Skybox Premium Point Men Rubies. Those were not serial numbered. Those were not serial number 50 rubies. These are just rubies, not the star rubies that are serial numbered to 50, like the Team Skybox and all that stuff. So 3 cards. I bought 3 Michael Jordan cards, 2 tier 1s and a tier 2. That's it. So these are cool. You'll see those in a future mail day, and we can look at them a little bit closer and kind of admire the aesthetics of the card. Again, traffic's still an issue. This is a little funny thing that I put. This is not really from Cleveland, guys, so don't get too out of whack. But I just thought it was funny because I saw this picture when I was sitting in traffic. I was like, let me send a picture and post a funny thing on Instagram. So ironically, that got a lot of comments as well. This was the event that I went to, and I was very thankful to be invited by Jesse and Brock to their event on Thursday night. This was a who's who of mega collectors. I mean, whales. Super collectors is, this is one time you can use the term super collectors and be accurate, and it's not an embellishment. Acquire is a card broker company, Brock and Jesse, who used to be with PWCC before the transition to Fanatics. Now they're card brokers and just 2 all-around great dudes. They invited me, and I asked them if Cajun Jr. could tag along, and of course they said they could. I attended it with my 3 best friends in the hobby, Stanley, Frankie, and Josh, and Josh's son Aiden came along as well, and Josh's friend Tyler. And so we rolled into the Acquire event, and it was held at a place called The Loft, which is in downtown Cleveland, sort of towards Lake Erie, towards the lakes, and it was a very dilapidated, disturbing area of town. And then we walked into this establishment, and it looked like a dump. And then when we walked in, we're like, damn, this is awesome. Like, the architecture was fascinating. This building had to be 100 years old that they renovated, but it was really cool. So that was a great event. where I got to see some, I mean, absolute heat and meet some of the greatest collectors in the world, which we'll talk a little bit more about in future videos. Just another picture from the National. There's a picture of me wearing my Twin Vision Scoring King shirt. Those guys don't sponsor the channel, but they send me free shirts, and I told them, I was like, you send me free shirts, I'm going to wear them, guys. And so I'm not sure how many places I could wear this Scoring King shirt other than the National or a card show, generally speaking, but I decided to wear it on Friday, and so I thought it was funny. I had my personal Scoring Kings PSA 10 card, and so I figured I'll take a picture of my shirt with my card. And as you can see, I'm horrible at pictures. I think I was trying to do this myself, and my arms aren't long enough, so I didn't even get the full picture of the shirt or a full picture of the card. But if you guys are interested in these shirts, and again, I don't get sponsored by these guys, or I don't have any dog in this hunt, but if you want to look at these shirts, I've got a PMG red shirt, a Beam Team shirt. They sent me a Platinum Portrait shirt. If you're interested in one of these shirts, I think they sent me a Griffey shirt as well. If you're interested in one of these shirts, check out Twin Vision on Instagram. This is a picture of the bay near Lake Erie with, I think that's the Browns Stadium right there. And then right over here on the left, I think that's no, that's not it. I don't know. I took this picture when I was going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, there it is. Yeah. So there's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. PSA, this is Friday now. So PSA had an event, the Set Registry Awards that I was a part of. And so part of the Set Registry Awards dinner where they give awards to all of the best and the people that have achieved these amazing achievements in set collecting on the PSA Set Registry. Part of the deal was a tour at the Hard Rock Cafe, which was you know, on the tab of PSA, which is great. And then also this little private thing for just our group from PSA, where the curator of the museum, this guy up here with the rubber gloves, don't cast any aspersions. That's just part of his job, right? Do you own a pair of rubber gloves? No, I lease with an option to buy. Name that film, by the way. Name that film. Do you own a pair of rubber gloves? Alan Stanwyck asked that question. Husband of Gail Stanwyck. Anyway, so he talked us through some of the little private stuff right there. That, of course, is Bob Marley's hat. You know, it was cool. He's talking about how they preserve the stuff and how they take care of the stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I had to throw this in here because the National required me to miss my second daughter, my fourth child's drop-off day at college. She is a Division I scholarship soccer player at McNeese in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and that is her little brother and little sister dropping her off with Mrs. Cajun in Lake Charles. So I was very, very sad to miss that. But I got this great picture right there. The rest of the pictures, everybody was crying. This is the one picture I could find where they were happy. So it's always hard when you drop your kids off for kindergarten, drop your kids off for the first day of high school. Not as much because they're probably jerks to you by then. But then when you drop them off to college, it's, you know, I hated to miss that. I did not like missing that, but I've got that picture to remind me that they got through it without me. So I would have just cried more. I cried when I got to Louisville and saw my house. I'd have cried a hell of a lot more dropping my baby off at college. You guys who are parents know that. This is a picture that's just going to blow your mind. Yes, those are all green PMGs. Those are Nat Turner's. His PMG collection was on display at the PSA Set Registry event dinner that I mentioned earlier. And so the whole thing was on display. Boom, boom. And then, of course, there's the Jordan right there. Nat doesn't have the complete set. He has 120 out of 123, so he's looking for Robert Pack and a couple of others. He's got all the big boys because you can see them there. How about all the bulls in front, right? You got Kukoc, Pippen, Jordan, Rodman, Kerr, and Longley all leading the front right there. Somebody asked me how much, and I'm like, I honest to God, I don't know. I think the next Jordan PMG will sell for, I think conservatively $2.5 million. Certainly, if it was $2.5 million, I would probably put together some type of fund and go get it. So I know it's going to sell for $2.5. I would guess it would sell for over $3 million, just the Jordan. So I think the whole set is probably in the $8 to $12 million range. That's as close as I can get. I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Honest to God, I have no idea. But it's the #1, obviously, set on the set registry. No one else is even remotely close to 120 out of 123 for the PMG green set. And there's the Jordan right there. Somebody on Instagram who doesn't know anything about cards is like, why would you want an authentic altered card? Well, I can think of about 3 million reasons why. So to answer the question. All right, photo dump number 3. Here we go. Big picture. This was the PSA set registry dinner. At a place was called Truss. And it was in a much nicer, almost like a warehouse district, a much nicer area of Cleveland. It had a great view of downtown right there. This was like a rooftop kind of get together before we went into the building for the dinner. So that was just a panoramic view off the rooftop there. There's me and my guys, right? There's the fearsome foursome, the 4 horsemen. So that's obviously me on the right. That's Josh Dawson at Northeast Sports Cards. This is at Frankie 3500, Frankie right here, and this is Stanley, who kind of lurks in the shadows. He's not out in front very often and doesn't like to be on camera and video, so he'll probably blush when and if he watches this video. But Stanley is also on Instagram, but I could never remember his Instagram thing. It's like STC something, and I was like, where did you get the Instagram thing? He's like, that's my name in Russian. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know you were Russian. So he's Russian, so we'll keep an eye on him. But Stanley, Frankie, Josh, and me, and that was kind of my traveling group at the National. And these are 3 guys that are not only my friends, but vastly superior knowledge of card collecting, vastly superior knowledge of Michael Jordan card collecting, and vastly superior collections in the Michael Jordan world. And so you surround yourself with, they say rising tides lift all boats, right? Everybody likes to use that phrase now, but these guys, as human beings and as collectors, they lift me up. And so you always want to surround yourself with people that are better than you in whatever it is you're doing, and that I have definitely accomplished. I can tell you that from those 3 guys. There's what that rooftop deal looked like. It was about, I think it was about 300 people, they said, total maybe. That might be wrong on that. This is what was at my table. Everybody who sat down at the PSA Set Registry Awards dinner had a PSA box in front of them. And when you open your box, you got an inscribed Dominique Wilkins. Now, only 100. If you're looking closely, you can see it's serial numbered. I can't see it, but it's serial numbered, hand serial numbered, and it says 2024 Set Registry, and then Neek signed right over the top of it. So that's a PSA DNA signed by Neek. Now, I will be honest with you, okay? I will be honest with you. First of all, I just got lucky and got the autograph one. Everybody else, I think only 100 were autographed, and then the rest of them, maybe I think they said 325. The other 225 were just inscribed, right? They weren't autographed, but he autographed 100 of them. So I just got lucky, 1 out of 3 chance. That's awesome. I think Cajun Jr.'s also was autographed, and immediately he gave it to, I think he gave it to Frankie, because we're only in there because those guys invited us as their +1s. And so I'm excited about this. It's cool. If you look at the PSA label, it says, you know, SR Awards Collection Autograph, you know, and it's from the PSA Set Registry Awards. I just think that's an awesome touch. This was the classiest event. The food was phenomenal. The people, the conversation was incredible. You know, the food was free, which is great when you're from Louisiana. You know, you're always looking for free food and drinks. The people there were awesome. Everybody was nice. It was very well put on. It was very efficient. And then the surprise was, you know, when we sat down and I opened it, and everybody at our table was like, man, we got the Dominique Wilkins table. So we started looking around like, well, who got the Isaiah Thomas table? You know, if it was Isaiah, I'd have just left. No, I'm just kidding. Who got the Michael Jordan table? Who got the, you know, David Robinson table? And then everybody at all the tables is like, it's Dominique Wilkins, Dominique Wilkins. And so we're like, what's that all about? And then, you know, this guy jumps up, gets on the mic and says, by the way, we have a special surprise. Neek's here. And so Dominique Wilkins was there, and Dominique Wilkins presented the awards to the people, and Dominique Wilkins gave a little talk, and then he answered questions and answers. People were asking him about, you know, when he was, you know, during his playing days. He talked about Bird, he talked about Jordan. So it was really cool. That part of it was really, really cool. And then this jerk right here, Brady Hill, I'm just kidding. This is West Coast Whale. If you remember from one of my prior videos, this was who I sold 95 PMG Reds to, and he was the best. God, my lights went out. That's when I'm not moving enough. Brady Hill is my very good friend from the West Coast. He was in town. He was the prime honoree here. He won the biggest and best award you could win, which is Best Collection of the Year. And so when I tell you, you know, there's minnows and whales, and sometimes you see my mail days and you're like, man, you've got a great collection. I'm very proud of my collection, but I do keep it in perspective. There are people out there with, you know, 1 or 2 cards that are worth more than my entire collection. It's important to keep that in perspective, and it's the journey, it's not the destination, right? So I know I'll never have a collection like this, but I know I'm gonna have a hell of a lot of fun trying to get there, right? And so that's kind of what this is about. So this Brady Hill won the award. No mention of me for some reason in the footnotes. You know, I mean, part of winning the award was probably putting together the PMG Red set, which you know, I gave him 95 cards, but somehow Cajun Cardboard not mentioned. In another thing, the soccer set of the year, like they give awards for each sport in the set of the year that was completed. Somebody completed the 2014 Prism World Cup PSA 10 set, 201 cards. Guess who else has that set? Me, yours truly. I have that set. Again, I'm not on the set registry, but when they announced that in the soccer set of the year that the guy completed was the Prism World Cup 2014 set in PSA 10, I was like, I've got that set, man. And so that was a moment of excitement as well. There's Neek right there talking. Seemed like a really nice guy. His hands looked like freaking catcher's mitts. His hands were huge. And then this is the last picture, guys. This is me and Cajun Jr. This is the neighborhood that we live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so when we finally got there, you know, I posted this on Instagram because people knew we were driving 16 straight hours, and we crushed it, man. It felt like 6 hours. We listened to podcast after podcast. If you want a tip, don't listen to music if you're driving long miles on the road. Listen to podcasts. It makes the time fly by. And so we did not tell Mrs. Cajun. I called her right when we got in the neighborhood. You know, this was funny. Right when we got in the neighborhood, she thought we were coming back Sunday. We just left the day early is what we did. So I ate a hotel room night. But we got back at around 7 p.m. Baton Rouge time. We got an hour back because we went from East Coast to West Coast time. I mean, East Coast to Central time. And so I called Mrs. Cajun when we rolled into the neighborhood and started talking to her and say, hey, we just left the show. We're going back to the hotel. You know, we just got done with dinner. We're on our way back to the hotel. You know, we're going to jump in the car. We're going to try to leave tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And she's talking to me. And when I pull up in the driveway, I can see her in the kitchen. She's in the kitchen. She's messing with the dishes. And she's looking out the kitchen window. And the car pulls up. And she's talking. And I'm talking to her. And I beep the horn. And she looks up. And she sees me. And she gets really confused, right? Because she's envisioning me at the hotel in Cleveland. So it was a nice surprise for her. But that's it, guys. That's my photo dump. My God, it's 35 minutes. I hope that wasn't too boring for you guys. I don't know any other way to do it. I don't have any money, and I don't know how to do all the fancy stuff with the audio and visual. Maybe I need a team of little Cajun minions, but I don't have it yet. So that's the best you're ever going to get from me when it comes to my story about the National. I do wish I could do some of the fancy stuff that SportsCard Investor and some of the other big brands do, but I'm just not that guy, right? Maybe one day I'll be that guy, but I'm not that guy right now. I just like to hit record and scream, as I tell you. So that's my experience at the National. It was fantastic. You know, blessed to be back here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Got a chance to spend last night with my family. Watched a really good movie, by the way, with the family. I think it was called Girl in the Water. It was about the first female to swim the English Channel. It was actually a really good movie. And then came to the office today. I got to get this out of my brain. I got a lot of things going on. I got a long checklist of things I need to do, and I got some PSA packages over here, which will be future grade reveals and mail day videos, which I'm excited about as well. But I wanted to get all this National stuff. I wanted to dump it and get it all to you. I'm going to do another video in the next couple of days, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I might have to cut some of this and edit, which I hate doing, but I think I am just going to stack up all of my video footage from the National, because I interviewed and talked to a bunch of different people while I was up there, and I took video of some really great cards. And so this is photo dump National recap. You're about to get video National recap, and I think that's going to have to be a 2 or 3 part deal. Otherwise, it's going to be way too long. So stay tuned for that. If you have not ever watched anything on my channel, or if you have watched stuff on my channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment, let me know what you think, let me know how I can get better. But really hitting that subscribe button helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me grow the channel. I'm trying to monetize this thing now, so you will notice that I have started to take the YouTube money. It is not very much money, because as you guys know, I talk about a very specific topic, collecting sports cards. And even within that a smaller topic, basketball cards, and even within that, usually a smaller topic, Jordan cards. So it's not like I'm gonna get rich and disappear and go, live on a resort and count my money. But it does help to monetize it because I can do bigger and better stuff on the channel, and it lends a little bit of credibility to the channel when you guys subscribe and when you guys hit the like button. If you want to hit the bell icon, you'll get notifications of when new videos drop. I might not be the best content creator in the hobby, but I am the most consistent, and I will have words with anybody who says otherwise. Nobody puts out more videos per day than I do. That is the one thing you can count on for me. So if you're always looking for something in the sports card hobby, you're probably going to get damn near a video a day on average from me. As always, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. Hopefully, if I didn't see you in the National, I apologize. Some of my very best friends in the hobby, I didn't get a chance to see and talk to and spend time with either. It's just a whirlwind. If you've ever been, you know how it is. It's impossible to hook up. There's a lot of bad stuff about the National. You're going to hear a lot of complaining about the National, the bathrooms, the parking, the Wi-Fi. But all in all, I ain't spoiled. I had a blast. I got to see people I never get to see once a year. I got to see cards I've never seen in my life. And we left safe and came back safe. And there's not much more you can ask for. And it was a great experience overall. So hopefully you guys had a blast as well. Let me know in the comments if you had a good or bad experience at the National. Let me know what stood out to you in this video. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, there's one way you can do that. If you're selling cards on the Fanatics Collect Marketplace, you can use the promo code Cajun like you saw in the pre-roll to this video. CAJUN, all capital letters. That's really at the moment the only way that you can monetarily, and again, it's not coming out of your pocket, but that's really the only way that I monetize the channel at the moment. The promo code for Fanatics Collect. So thank you guys for watching as always. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby. Peace.